Hey everyone, I'm trying this again because I think I may actually be in screen now. So let me go to YouTube and check. Uh, um, um, let's see. Yeah. Yes, you can actually see me now. For some reason, I didn't add myself into the studio at first, and then when I did, apparently I only could hear myself. So I'm starting over. So I mean, I I will actually be reacting to all the signings that have happened today now. While I'm here and you can see me. But uh, but so let's get into that. And so let's start with um, I'm just gonna go down. I'm gonna go from most recent to beginning of the day. So Brandon Stevens has agreed to a 3-year, $36 million contract with the New York Jets. Uh, uh, he came from the Ravens, I believe. Uh, so the Jets get some cornerback help there. Uh, Free agent cornerback Dante Jackson and the Chargers reached an agreement on a 2-year, $13 million deal that comes out to $6.5 million a year. Uh, pretty good contract for him since he's on a little bit on the older side. All of these are being reported by Adam Schefter. And I'll also check Twitter to see if there's any other updated stuff that's happening in in free agency. But as of right now, there has not been any updated uh, talks or signings. So I'm gonna just go off of Adam Schefter here. Um, so the Commanders traded for um, Laramie Tunsil to protect Jane Daniels, which I think is a very solid move by them. And the Commanders get Laramie Tunsil and a fourth-round pick, and the Texans in return get a 2025 third-round pick, a 2025 second-round pick or seventh-round pick, a 2026 second-round pick, and a 2026 fourth-round pick. Laramie Tunsil has been a very top-end offensive tackle since entering the league. How old is Laramie Tunsil? When did Laramie Tunsil get drafted? Uh, let's see. Draft. Sorry. Draft here. Sorry, I have to look up when Laramie Tunsil was drafted to get this right. He was drafted in the 2016 draft, so 9 years ago. He was drafted by the Houston Texans. So I believe this is the first time that he's been traded. Uh, yeah, oh no, he was selected by the Dolphins in the um, he was drafted by the Dolphins uh, in the 2016 draft, and then traded. I want to say like 2020 or something. Uh, but a few years ago, he's played for the Texans for a good amount of years, and um, and finally got he's now the with the Commanders, and he's going to be a great guy for the Commanders to protect Jaden Daniels. Let's see. What else happened? Former Viking defensive end Patrick Jones II reached an agreement on a 2-year deal worth up to $20 million with the Carolina Panthers. I think that's a pretty good deal. We'll see if he starts for the Carolina Panthers because they seem to have edge rushers, or a lot of edge rushers. Here, I'm gonna send this to people so people can watch. Sorry, guys. And then Grady Jarrett was agreed to terms with the Bears on a 3-year $43.5 million deal. He was released by the Texans this morning. I was really surprised when I saw that he was getting released, and I'm surprised that he found a home so fast. But I'm very happy that it's with the Bears. And I'm very excited to see how this goes for him. The deal is for $43.5 million with $28.5 guaranteed. So basically, it's a 2-year deal with the 3rd year as an option. The Jaguars have reached an agreement with Ravens O-lineman Patrick McCarry. The details on that have not been announced yet, and that signing happened like 2 hours ago. So I'm kind of very interested to see why they haven't been announced yet. Here, let me see if I can actually find the details of that online real quick. I don't know. News. Let's go to news. Go to all. I mean, let me see if there's any. So apparently it's a 3-year deal, but still like no numbers on it, which is very weird. Let me look at another website to see if I could find. Oh, okay, here it is. According to MSN.com, it's a 3-year, $37.5 million deal with the Jacksonville Jaguars. It includes more than $20 million guaranteed. So that's agreed to, but they won't be able to. None of the free agents that signed today, tomorrow, will not be able to actually sign their contracts until Wednesday at 3:00, because because free agency officially starts Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern time. So we need to wait until then to actually announce, be excited that people are signing. But like deals are announced and agreed to starting today. They were starting today at 11. So, it's finally at the place where, we can agree to things. I'm gonna send this to people Here, give me 1 second. I don't know why I wasn't in the picture at first. Let me send this to. But everything, we've signed, probably every position that we need to for free agency in terms of the big names. So next, former Jaguars tight end Luke Farrell reached an agreement with the 49ers on a 3-year contract worth up to $20.25 million, including $11 million guaranteed. Just want to make sure. Yeah, okay. Josh Sweat and the Cardinals reached an agreement on a 4-year deal worth up to $76.4 million, including 41 guaranteed. That's a really good contract for him, especially after he wins the Super Bowl. I'm surprised that it was someone besides like a content. I thought that he'd go to a better team, but there's a possibility that the reason he signed there is because of that was a place that was offering him the most money. Bills reached an agreement with former Chargers wide receiver Josh Palmer on a 3-year, $36 million deal. I think this is I think that's a good, third wide receiver for them. I really like him as the deep threat per se. And $12 million for him is probably a bit of an overpay, but when it's when there's not many great options at wide receiver, you just take what you can get. Broncos and Talana Hufanga have agreed to a 3-year contract worth up to $45 million, including $20 million guaranteed at signing. I really like this for safety help for them. They need safety help. Justin Fields reached an agreement on a 2-year, $40 million deal that includes $30 million guaranteed at signing with the Jets. I see him more as the stopgap for the Jets. I think he will start this year, but I do think that they will draft his replacement next year. I'm not saying that I don't think Justin Fields is a quality starter. It's just I don't know per se if the Jets is the best place for him. You go from it's not I don't think it's the best place, but he gets a good payday. So I wish him luck in New York, and he also he reunites with a former teammate from Ohio State in Garrett Wilson. So that'll be nice to be able to throw to his college teammate. Former Vikings quarterback Sam Darnold reached an agreement today on a 3-year, $110 million contract with $55 million guaranteed at signing with this Seattle Seahawks. Seattle gets its successor for Geno Smith. Now, the thing is, the Seahawks did let go of all of their uh, um, wide receiver help in terms of letting go of Tyler Lockett and trading um, uh, DK Metcalf to the Steelers. So I think that we have that the Seahawks will have to prioritize uh, um, getting him some offensive weapons in terms of um, uh, in terms of to make sure that he's not going to turn back into the Sam Darnold of the Jets when he was originally drafted. Milton Williams is signing with the New England Patriots. He gets 4 years, $104 million, I think. It was originally announced that he was signing with the Panthers, but the New England Patriots swooped in and got and upped their offer, and the Panthers couldn't match it. So Milton Williams goes from a Super Bowl contender to, I mean, an okay football team. But when you join okay football teams, they're willing to pay you as much money as possible. So, I mean, it's 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 a good signing. It's just I think well, actually, I can't say that the Patriots are going to regret it because they have like $100 million in cap space, so really they're not going to regret it. The Lions signed cornerback DJ Reed to a 3-year, $48 million contract. So he gets a good hefty payday there. I'm sorry, I'm looking on my phone to see if any other Bears stuff has happened, but I'll get to some of the other Bears signings in a minute because I'm going in order of what Adam Schefter is announcing. So, Eagles, former Eagles cornerback Isaiah Rodgers reached an agreement on a 2-year, $15 million contract with the Minnesota Vikings. The deal includes $8 million guaranteed, so he technically gets half his contract guaranteed because 2 years divided by 15 is $7.5 million. So that's pretty nice. Carlton Davis has agreed to a 3-year, $60 million contract with the New England Patriots. The deal averages 20 a year and contains 34.4 million fully guaranteed. The deal was negotiated by David Mulugheta and Trevin Smith of Athletes First. Former Steelers left tackle Dan Moore reached an agreement today on a 4-year, $82 million deal that includes $50 million guaranteed with the Tennessee Titans. The deal includes $30 million in year 1 and $50 million in the first 2 years. Jeff Nolly and Graylin Crane of CAA negotiated the contract with Titans president of football operations, Chad Brinker. The Titans now have a left tackle to protect the blind side of whoever plays quarterback. And in my personal opinion, I do believe that will be Cam Ward, but it also has been said that they are listening to offers for the number 1 overall draft pick, but we'll see if they actually trade it. The Rams are re-signing Jalen Jimmy Garoppolo to I think a 1-year deal, but the terms for that have not been announced. Or well, actually, let me see if I can find it. Jimmy. Let's see if his deal is. Yeah, Rams keep Jimmy Garoppolo on a 1-year deal. Oh, 1 year, $11 million deal. That's pretty good. And Jimmy Garoppolo is a very serviceable quarterback. He just, never really got a chance. So I like that for them. Javon Kinlaw reached an agreement with Washington on a 3-year deal, $45 million. That includes $30 million guaranteed. Free agent DT BJ Hill is signing a 3-year deal, $33 million. That includes $16 million guaranteed with the Bengals. So he returns to the Bengals. Former Dolphins wide receiver Braxton Berrios reached an agreement on a 1-year deal with the Texans for $2 million. The deal was negotiated by Drew Rosenhaus and Robert Bailey. And the biggest Bears, well, there's a couple of Bears signings that I will get into after this one, but the biggest one that we all Bears fans can agree on that we needed to finalize was former Falcons center Drew Dahlman reached an agreement today on a 3-year deal, $42 million that includes $28 million guaranteed with the Chicago Bears. The deal makes Dahlman the second highest paid center, only behind Creed Humphrey, who's averaging $18 million. Drew Dahlman on this deal will average $14 million. Steve Carrick of Wasserman negotiated the deal with Bears GM Ryan Poles, who is pouring his resources into the offensive line this offseason. But after that, the Bears also signed Deo. I'm gonna butcher his name, but let me look it up so I at least could. Adin Yingbo to a 3-year, $48 million contract. And then the surprise of the day for the Bears in terms of free agency was honestly Grady Jarrett signing a 3-year, $43.5 million deal, because he was just released by the Atlanta Falcons at like 10:30 this morning, and in 5 hours he found a new home. Now, it is important to note that none of the signings that have been agreed to today have been like made official. They will be official on Wednesday at 3:00 Central Time, because we're in the part of the off-season called the legal tampering period. And what that is it's a 2-day window starting March 10th at 11:00, going all the way to Wednesday until 3:00, where teams and players can talk to free agents and agree to contracts with with that player, but they won't be able to sign them until Wednesday. And we just had a trade. The Browns are acquiring QB Kenny Pickett from the Eagles in exchange for Dorian Thompson-Robinson and a 5th-round draft pick. That's a little something I did not see coming. But you also have your own problems with Deshaun Watson. So what am I gonna say to that? Let's see. What else? Okay, let me get back to the other signings of the day. So Tampa Bay is re-signing free agent wide receiver Chris Godwin to a 3-year contract, in which the first 2 are fully guaranteed. That's interesting. After he tore his ACL this past offseason. The Patrick Mahomes has a new blindside protector. The Chiefs have agreed to terms with offensive tackle Jalen Moore on a 2-year, $30 million deal, including $21.24 million of it fully guaranteed at signing with the Kansas City Chiefs. Interesting. I thought they would go for someone better, but they did not. Hassan Reddick has agreed to terms on a 1-year deal for $14 million, including $12 million guaranteed with the Bucks. That's definitely around the money that he should be getting for not. I mean, that is a little bit of an overpay after you consider him sitting out for half the year last year. But I mean, that's the edge market. Wasn't had some great guys at the top in Josh Sweat and Milton Williams, so that drove up the prices for other free agents, which I'm sure they are happy about. Let's see. So let's talk a little bit about the Bears, because since this is a Bears podcast, the Bears, they're at least from what it looks like, they are, solely focusing on the trenches this year, or this free agency period, and they have done that. Their offensive line is going to look much better in 2025 with it standing right now as Braxton Jones at left tackle, Joe Thuney at left guard, Drew Dahlman at center, Jonah Jackson at right guard, and Darnell Wright at right tackle. And I mean, when you look at what we've had in the past, this offensive line looks so much better on paper. I mean, I was very nervous that the Bears might lose out on Drew Dahlman, if I'm being completely honest, because, like, for instance, last night there was a tweet that said Falcons agree to terms with Jake Matthews, and I immediately thought that it would. I only read the part that said Falcons agree to terms, so I thought that it was going to be Drew Dahlman, but then I read the whole thing and it wasn't. So I'm like, oh, okay, this is fine. But then today, Grady Jarrett was released this morning at like 10 o'clock, right before free agency started, and I thought that was like an effort to re-sign Dahlman. And here's a little tidbit of information on Drew Dahlman. His father played for the 49ers when he was during his playing career. So I thought that if the Bears were gonna lose out to anyone um, in in free agency for Drew Dahlman, I thought it would be um, uh, the 49ers because he just he probably grew up there. Um, he just knew probably knows some people within the organization, but I mean, that didn't happen. And actually, I read earlier today when I was on, when I was trying to do a live stream, but I wasn't on screen like you see me now. Um, I read that he actually took less money to join the Bears because he wanted to play with Ben Johnson or play for Ben Johnson. And when I read that, I'm like, oh my God, this is awesome because we actually finally have a, a, um, a coach that players want to play for. And it, it only took getting a competent offensive coach to make players want to come here and play for us. But I mean, this is so great, and so I mean, I'm very very excited to see how the rest of free agency goes. I do believe that the rest of the signings that we make will be shorter. I do believe that they'll be like 2-year deals, 1 and 2 year deals for uh, certain um, certain free agents that could be backups. I would look at possibly. Let's see. I would look at backup offensive lineman. I'd look at a wide receiver 3. I'd look at huh. But that's, I mean, maybe and probably a safety. Uh, but I mean, besides that, I mean, this is a great uh free agency haul because we got Joe Thuney or Tooney. I keep pronouncing the H in his name. I want to just say the H because it's there. But so we've acquired Joe Tooney, Jonah Jackson, Drew Dahlman, Deo. Uh, Wait a minute. I have to look at his name again so I don't say it wrong. Sorry. Ading Yingbo, and Grady Jarrett. I mean, in the past 5 hours, because I'm doing this live stream at 4 o'clock, or I started this live stream at 4 o'clock because I finally figured out how to make sure that you guys could see me. In the past 5 hours, we've added 5 pieces of players that will contribute to this team. In fact, well, let me see first. I know that there's only one person in here watching this, but well, I have you here. Let me ask you, what would you grade this first day of free agency in terms of an A to F? And you can include the Joe Tooney and the Jonah Jackson trades in here. So I mean, if anyone joins and wants to post a comment that says what your thoughts are on the trade, that'd be great. And I can react to it. Let me. I mean, I would give this a minus personally, but that's just my opinion. I I really like that they're adding things in the trenches because that's probably our weakest point. So I wait, no, I shouldn't have done that. That's not. Uh, um, I really enjoy this. I mean, it's he's finally opening up the wallet to make sure that uh players are wanting to come here. Oh, here's another deal. Former 49ers cornerback Travarius Ward reached an agreement on a 3-year deal worth up to $60 million with 35 million guaranteed and 20 million signing bonus with the Indianapolis Colts. So the Colts get some help with the cornerback room down there. I think that's pretty good. So let's see how it's going for if anything else has happened. But I wouldn't imagine so because that was just a minute ago when that was announced. So I think I have to wait a little bit before saying anything else. But yeah. Right now it's just the Travarius Ward stuff. But I mean that's a good deal for them. Josh Dobbs reached an agreement on a 2-year deal with New England. He'll probably be the third string quarterback, maybe the second string. I'm not sure. He doesn't doesn't get a lot of playing time there or when he is the backup because I mean that's what he is. He's a backup. So I mean I wish him luck there, but I don't see him actually contributing in any capacity to a certain extent. I mean maybe he helps Drake May along with his his development, which actually he will need. So I do think that is somewhat of a good signing, but I mean, and it's for cheap too. 2 years for $5 million. That's $2.5 million a year. So that's not very long. But I mean, I really like the haul that we've gotten for the Bears because all of them are very, very good players. I mean, I could say that the Bears could definitely do better within the with the Deo be oh my god, I'm gonna butcher his name every time I try to say it. Ading Yingbo. I'm just gonna call him Deo from now on because I'm not gonna get that name right until he's on the team. But I mean, you could have gotten probably Chase Young, but also what's his name? Dennis Allen really likes defensive ends with size, and Deo is 286 pounds, and he's also only 25, so he hasn't necessarily played his best football yet. He's getting into his second contract, and it sometimes it takes your first rookie contract for you to develop, and the guy was a second round draft pick in 2021, so he's going to be a good player. He just has to get with the right system, and I'm sure that Dennis Allen and everyone have a plan for him, and they're gonna develop him right. And I mean, all of them are essentially all of the signings that we've made today in Dahlman, Jarrett, and Adiyingbo, they're essentially like 2-year deals because those first 2 years are all guaranteed, and then the last year is like a um a a team option because of the fact that like the last year is like how much they're actually supposed to make. Because for example, Drew Dahlman's contract is 3 years for $42 million. That's $14 million a year. And I think he got 28.5 guaranteed. Let's see. Let me look on Twitter. Drew Dahlman. No, I gotta keep going down. Contract. Let me look up his contract. Okay. Yeah. 3 years, $42 million. That includes $28 million guaranteed with the Chicago Bears. So the third year is technically an option year, but with him being 26, I think that there is a high possibility that he will be here for all those 3 years, and hopefully past that too. But the Bears have upgraded the trenches in a major capacity on both sides of the ball, really, because while Dale may not be the greatest signing for $16 million, you've signed Grady Jarrett to be right next to him at the D tackle position, and Grady Jarrett has been a great player for the last 10 years. So I mean, you're taking care of your biggest issues when you have a quarterback, your quarterback on a rookie contract, which means you can sign players to contracts that may put you over the cap in next year. But here, actually, let me look at don't I have that on here somewhere? I have I believe I have I have over the cap pulled up on here. So now this is just a projection, but so right now in 2025, now this hasn't been updated yet, but it says that the Bears have $42.4 million in cap space, and have 36.8 in effective cap space, which means technically available cap space. But in 2026, okay, the Bears would have. So in 2026, the base salary cap is projected to be at $295.5 million. Now, that could change. I don't know if it's going to go up that much, but that's what the website says it's going to be. But if that's true, the Bears would have $121.2 million to spend in free agency and would have just under $100 million to spend in effective cap space. So really, right now, if you signed got the guys that you signed, you're not really worried about going over your spending limit for this off season, because you've got plenty of it next season, and it's not gonna. I mean, the cap space is always going to be increasing because of the revenue that people that the NFL gets from people. I mean, how much was it in 2020? I want to say it was like it's 279. It was like 255 last off season. So it raised like $24 million, and it's only going to go up from here because it's the one sport that everyone watches. I mean, there are other sports that a lot of people watch, but football is the biggest one. I mean, there was like 40 million people watching the Super Bowl, for example. There's never gonna be. I don't think that we're gonna have to worry about football going away for a long time. And honestly, cap space is not a thing per se. The only time that it's really a thing is when you have to get under your cap, so you can actually buy or get players. I mean, the Chiefs, the Saints, and the Dolphins are over the cap right now. And that's because they have a lot of dead money, and it's just they're in a bad situation. But those three teams are in a bad situation. But that just, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. But okay, here's another signing. The Texans are signing Chiefs free agent Justin Watson as and as a free agent. I would imagine that's maybe a short-term deal. I'm not sure how long it will be. It hasn't been announced yet, but that's a good depth piece for them, I think. Let's see, anything else? No, nothing new. Let me see if anything else on here. No, nothing new. Just Javarius Ward agreement on a $60 million deal, 35 guaranteed, 20 signing bonus. Josh Dobbs, 2-year deal with Patriots. I think that's like a $5 million deal, so it's not that expensive. Oh man, my neck. Let's see. Anything? What else? So here, let me catch you guys up if any of you guys are popping in and and haven't heard any of the new news. So let's start with this. Okay. Hassan Reddick signed a 1-year deal for $14 million, including $12 million guaranteed. the deal was negotiated by Drew Rosenhaus. Patrick Mahomes has a new blindside protector. Jalen Moore reached an agreement today on a 2-year, $30 million deal, including 21.24 guaranteed at signing, which goes to show that being in the red in cap space doesn't mean you can't spend it. They'll figure out a way to get him his money. Tampa Bay is re-signing Chris Godwin to a 3-year deal. I think that I read somewhere that it's like a $66 million deal. Let me look that up. Chris Godwin. Let's see. Resigns with. Trying to see if I can find the deal. Yeah. According to MSN.com, 3 years, $66 million to stay in a Buccaneers uniform. Wow, I thought he was going to go to the Patriots. I truly thought that. I mean, that's good for him to stay with the Patriots or stay with the Bucs. But to be honest with you, I thought that it was possible that he was just going to test free agency and get a boatload of money. But he still got a boatload of money. But he got a boatload of money with a team that he wanted to stay with, which I actually really envy him for staying in staying in Tampa. Let's see. What else was announced today? The Bears signed Falcons former center Drew Dahlman, who we have talked about countless times. And when we struck a deal with him, it's finally happening. And it was just so refreshing to see that Brian Poles is actually investing in the offensive line. And he did that well before signing Drew Dahlman with Jonah Jackson and Joe Thuney. Braxton Berrios is signing a 1-year deal with the Texans, $2 million. That's a depth piece. Wide receiver 4 or 5. BJ Hill is signing a 3-year deal to return to the Bengals for $33 million. That includes $16 million guaranteed. And so he goes back to the Bengals. Javon Kinlaw, DT, he agreed to terms with Washington on a 3-year deal, $45 million. That includes $30 million guaranteed. Jimmy G signed a 1-year, $11 million deal with the Rams, so he's going to be the backup again for Matthew Stafford. The Tennessee Titans signed left tackle Dan Moore to a hefty 4-year, $82 million deal. That includes $50 million guaranteed, $30 million in year 1, and the next 20 in year 2. Big contract for a middle of the road left tackle, in my personal opinion, but that's not that's not my my say. So that's a good signing for him, but might have been a little bit too much. Carlton Davis agreed to a 3-year, $60 million deal with the New England Patriots. The deal averages 20 a year and has 34.5 fully guaranteed. Former Eagles cornerback Isaiah Rodgers reached an agreement on a 2-year, $15 million deal with the Minnesota Vikings. The deal includes $8 million fully guaranteed. So he gets essentially half of his deal when he signs, a little bit over half, $500,000 over half, but that's pretty good for him. The Lions signed DJ Reed to a 3-year, $48 million contract. Milton Williams is signed with the New England Patriots. He signed a 4-year, $104 million deal. So he averaged 104 or 106. So he averages $26 million a year. That's a hefty payday after getting a Super Bowl win, and the Sam Darnold reached an agreement today with the Seattle Seahawks on a 3-year, $110 million contract, including $55 million guaranteed with the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle has its successor for Geno Smith. The problem is he, as of right now, won't have any weapons besides Jackson Smith-Njigba, because the Seahawks did trade away and release. They traded away DK Metcalf to the Steelers, and then they released Tyler Lockett. So that was a little surprising. So I hope that the Seahawks focus on getting Sam Darnold some weapons to complete the offense, so he won't turn into the Sam Darnold of the Jets a couple of years ago. And speaking of the Jets, the Jets agreed to terms with Justin Fields. I see him more of a 1-year starter, and then they'll. They possibly could draft their quarterback this draft and then have him sit behind Justin for a year. But it's a $40 million deal that includes $30 million guaranteed with the Jets. The Broncos and Tulana Noah Hufanga have agreed to a 3-year contract worth up to $45 million, including $20 million guaranteed at signing. Scroll up here. The Bills reached an agreement with former Chargers wide receiver Joshua Palmer on a 3-year, $36 million deal. Josh Sweat and the Cardinals reached an agreement on a 4-year deal worth $76.4 million, including $41 million guaranteed. Deal was negotiated by Drew Rosenhaus. So the Eagles lose 2 very high-end quality pieces on their defensive line, so they'll probably have to focus on that to replace them. But that's gonna be hard. Former Jaguars tight end Luke Farrell reached an agreement with the 49ers on a 3-year deal worth up to 20.5 or $20.25 million dollars, including 11 million guaranteed. Jaguars reached an agreement with Ravens O-lineman Patrick McCarry. That was a 3-year deal, $37.5 million deal, I believe. Yes, with more than 20 million of guaranteed money. So I mean that's really good for him. Uh, uh, um, Now it's so that's a good piece for the Jaguars. Some good protection for Trevor Lawrence. And let's see what's next. So this one was the surprise for most Bears fans. Former Falcon Grady Jarrett, who is a defensive tackle, was released today from Atlanta. Has already, he's found a new home already, and it's with the Chicago Bears. The agreement is 3-year, $43.5 million, including $28.5 million fully guaranteed at signing. So that's a big one. And then the Bears also before agreeing to terms with Grady Jarrett, we agreed to terms with Deo. Oh my God, I'm still gonna Adin Yingbo. He got a 3-year, $48 million contract. And a lot of people are upset with this signing, but here's a comparison that someone that Nick Wallin on Twitter brought up to people. So he compares Deo Adeyingbo to Cameron Jordan. Deo is 6'5" and 1/8, and Cam Jordan is 6'4" and 1/8. So Deo is an inch taller. Deo is 286 pounds. Cam Jordan is 287 pounds. So they're only a pound apart. And Deo has a 35 and 1/4 arm length, and Cameron Jordan has a 35-inch arm length. So that comparison is a very good comparison. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see if Dennis Allen can turn Deo into Cameron Jordan or similar to Cameron Jordan. But I don't think this signing is as bad as you think. So I mean, okay. Here's another tweet from Jacob Infante. The Bears are in position for an Eagle-esque offseason in the trenches. They have signed and traded for left guard Joe Thuney, center Drew Dahlman, right guard Jonah Jackson, D end Deo Adeyingbo, and DT Grady Jarrett. Now, there's no reason to stop there because you still have 10, 39, 41, and 72. So, I mean, you could power up, both of the offensive line and the defensive line because, you probably should take, an edge rusher at 10 because I'm not necessarily sure what uh, um, what how good Dale will be yet. But that's up to uh, to Dennis Allen to coach him up. Um, um, but I mean, the edge rushers in this draft are pretty high, or pretty high level edge rushers. But the thing is, we've also heard that the talent ranging from 10 to 51 or 10 to 50 are relatively the same. And it just so happens that we have 3 picks in those in that pick range. We have 10, 39, and 41. So really, here's what I would do. I would take an edge rusher at 10, unless like a guy like Ashton Genty or Mason Graham is available, and then let's just say that they're not Mason Graham or Ashton Genty. I would either see if you could find a trade partner and trade back like from anywhere from 15 to 18 to see if you could revamp a couple of the picks that you lost in the Joe Thuney trades and the Jonah Jackson trades. Now, granted, they're fourth round and sixth round draft picks, but if you could revamp them just a little bit, that'd be nice to get maybe like an extra second and third if you trade back to like 15 to 17. I think that's a good return for that. But the problem is you have to find a trade partner, so that's the hard part. You it takes 2 to tango. It's just like free agency. It's like, do you have a player that wants to come here and wants to sign for that much money, or do you have to overpay them to have them sign here? Which, some of the teams have done to get people to come to certain organizations. But honestly, I have to say, I don't think the Bears have done that. For example, Drew Dahlman, his his asking price was 13 to 14. We got him for 14, which I was even comfortable going up to 15, 16 if he needed that to entice him to come here. And then with Deo Adiningbo, he was projected to get 17 and a half, and we got him for 16. So we got him for less than he was projected. Now we still might have overpaid him a little bit, but that's okay. And then Grady Jarrett, actually let me look at his market. What was his market value? I don't know what his market value would be. Spot track. That's the. Let's see. Let's go to Spot Track here. Okay. Let's go to. So. I don't know if I can get, or usually I would be able to find his market value on on Spot Track, but I can't find the I can't find their his market value. But I mean, I can't find it. But I mean, you got a very good a good defensive tackle to complete the ensemble of Montez Sweat, Dale Adeningbo, and then Grady Jarrett, along with Gervon Dexter, and to get Grady Jarrett to mentor Gervon Dexter, that's pretty good. I really like that. So I mean, it's a very good acquirization, and trying to see if I can find Jarrett on here. Nope. But that's because it's not official technically. I mean, yeah, I mean, and okay, so Atlanta released him this morning, and created $16.25 million in cap space. And just for reference, we signed him for 43 point. So we got him for less than the amount of money that the Falcons saved to keep him. And there was a funny tweet that I saw a couple of hours ago that the Bears got their the Falcons' best offensive lineman in Drew Dahlman to be our center, and then we got the Falcons' best defensive lineman in Grady Jarrett, and I think that's funny. So I just had to laugh at that, and that's a little bit of a funny tidbit there. Let's see what else could I talk about? Let's talk about some of the trades that were made before free agency, because we did talk about them at the beginning of the live stream when I started this at 11 o'clock at the right time. But let's just start at the beginning. So let's talk about some of the extensions that got made. Tight end Mike Gesicki re-signed with the Bengals on Saturday for 3 years, $25.5 million. Gregory Rousseau signed a 4-year extension worth $80 million with $54 million guaranteed. Geno Smith got traded to the Las Vegas Raiders for a 3rd-round pick. That's why I think that it's completely possible for Ashton Dante to be taken at 6 and be and the Bears will lose out on him. But I don't necessarily think it's that big of a problem, because there are a lot of good running backs in this draft. So I think that the Bears could take one in in the second or third round and still be fine and recreate that Jahmyr Gibbs and uh, David Montgomery duo. But I mean, I don't necessarily see it happening, but there's a way to if there was a way to get Najee Harris and sign him to like a 2, maybe 3-year deal for $10 million. Maybe if the Bears have the space, I think they could easily recreate that duo in Detroit and Chicago with Najee and DeAndre Swift. But again, I could also just see him drafting a running back in the second round or third round, because there's a lot of good running backs at this point, or in this draft. So I'm okay with either, to be honest. Let's see. What other extensions were made? Hollywood Brown is returning to Kansas City on a 1-year deal up to $11 million. The Ravens are re-signing left tackle Ronnie Stanley to a 3-year, $60 million deal to so that's $20 million a year. Bills are released pass rusher Von Miller, but they are opening to bring him back. As of right now, the release does free up $8.4 million in cap space, but it would kind of be cool to see him back in a Bills uniform. I liked him in a Bills uniform. So there was some big news yesterday before free agency, and everyone thought that this was going to go a different way. But the Browns and Myles Garrett agreed to a record contract extension that averages $40 million a year and includes $123.5 million in guaranteed money, and now makes him the highest non-QB in NFL history. I mean, but this also raises a problem, because with the amount of money that Myles Garrett got to be a non-quarterback, this means that there's a possibility that Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and high-end players that are not quarterbacks could ask for that much money. Now here's another thing that I'd like to mention. The Browns are terrible, and they will not win until they realize that they have to, figure out the quarterback issues, because they've had quarterback issues for the longest time. I mean, it's crazy. A little bit of news here. Rams are planning to release wide receiver Cooper Kupp after the start of the new league year, unless a trade materializes, which makes sense because the Rams did sign Davante Adams to a 2-year, $46 million deal. So really, there's no reason to keep Cooper Kupp. Although, why would you move on from an aging Cooper Kupp and sign Davante Adams to the last contract of his career? Because he's 32. Probably only plays till the end of this contract. But I mean, I understand it. I mean, it is Sean McVay, uh, so he's aggressive. Um, so another re-signing that happened yesterday was Nick Bolton, re-signing with the Chiefs for 3 years, $45 million, including $30 million guaranteed. This one I really like. Minnesota is getting back its running back. Aaron Jones is re-signing with the Vikings on a 2-year, $20 million deal that includes $13 million guaranteed. This just gives a familiar face to JJ McCarthy, who will most likely be the starter in Minnesota now that Sam Darnold is with the Seahawks. But but this just gives some familiarity to JJ McCarthy, and I hope that he works out. Because honestly, I was one of those people that might have been pulling for Minnesota to get Sam Darnold back, because you don't know what you're going to get, what type of player you're going to get after an ACL injury. So it's going to be hard to imagine the. It's going to be hard to imagine the Eagles being, or not the Vikings being as good as they were last year, because you have a rookie quarterback. You have to manage your expectations when you have a rookie quarterback. Linebacker Jamin Sherwood is returning to the Jets for $45 million with 30 fully guaranteed on the deal, negotiated by Drew Rosenhaus and Robert Bailey. I would guess that that's a 3-year deal. A little something new here. Former Broncos quarterback Zach Wilson reached agreement on a 1-year deal, $6 million fully guaranteed, that could grow to $10 million with the Miami Dolphins. That's a good deal. Now, I don't see him playing, but it is a good idea. Well, actually, I could see him playing, because Tua has a bunch of injury problems, or a bunch of concussion problems in Miami. So there's a possibility, if he goes down, that Zach Wilson could get some playing time. Devontae Adams is signed with the Rams on a 2-year, $46 million that includes 26 guaranteed. So he gets it's basically a 1-year deal. No, it's 2, but he gets a little over half of it guaranteed. So he gets like 51% of it guaranteed. But I would say, besides the Myles Garrett deal, this was the biggest deal of yesterday before free agency. The Bills and Josh Allen reached agreement on a new record-setting 6-year, $330 million contract that includes $250 guaranteed, the largest guaranteed ever given to a NFL player. Allen had 4 years left on his deal, but the Bills still rewarded their franchise QB with a new benchmark deal. And then Seattle, late last night, Seattle sent two-time Pro Bowl wide receiver DK Metcalf to the Steelers for a second-round pick and flipping of 6th and 7th. So the Seattle Seahawks traded Geno Smith to the Raiders and wide receiver DK Metcalf to the Steelers. So, I mean, I think that and also with DK being traded to the Steelers, it came with a 5-year deal worth $150 million for an extension. So DK Metcalf in the silver or in the orange and black or yellow and black, Jesus. So who's there? Who's their quarterback? Oh wait, it's Russell Wilson. Well, it could be Russell Wilson. I mean, no news on Russell Wilson yet, but I mean, I would imagine that Russell Wilson returns to the Steelers. Little news here. The Panthers are signing former Chiefs defensive tackle Thershawn Wharton to a 3-year deal worth up to $54 million. So another good move for the Panthers. Let's see. Any stuff on the Bears? No, nothing on the Bears. And if I'm being completely honest, I would not be surprised if the rest of our signings are depth signings, and those should happen in the next couple of days. Hopefully, I just hope that those signings are at like positions like wide receiver, maybe safety, and a couple, some backup offensive linemen. But I think that we'll have to wait for the second wave of free agency for that to start. And honestly, that could start on Thursday because of the fact that there's not a lot of big high offensive talent or high free agent talent left in the in free agency. So I'm sorry, I'm looking at my phone to see if there's any deals for the Bears, but nothing yet. And I'm probably looking for no reason because I wouldn't expect the Bears to make any more big signings. I mean, this happened earlier today, like 5:00 this morning. The New England Patriots sent DT Davin Godchaux to the New Orleans Saints in exchange for 2026 7th-round draft picks. So he gets to return to where he played college ball. I think I'm gonna end here, guys. I've been going live for a while, so I'm gonna end here. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm glad that I figured out how to actually be on screen so you could see me. But I've been here since 11 o'clock. I know that it might not have felt that way because you couldn't see me, but I'm sorry for that, and I will post this on YouTube in whenever it's downloaded. So I hope you guys enjoyed. And this is a great free agency for the Bears. I'll just I'll break this one last thing before I head out. Former Colts center Ryan Kelly reached an agreement with the Minnesota Vikings on a 2-year, $18 million deal. So he gets $9 million for 2 years, and that makes a lot of sense. He's 33. He'll or 32 or 33, but he'll be 35 when this is over. And yes, offensive linemen can play well into their 30s, but Ryan Kelly is getting up there. So I really enjoy. I like that deal for him. It's a good short-term deal, but yeah, we'll see if the Bears make any more signings. I would imagine that they're going to be depth signings at this point, but I love that the Bears are focusing on the trenches for once, because they haven't done that in a while. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope I don't lose my voice for talking for so long. But have a great time, everyone.